Yo, I swear it was like around the times when things were going well, when we had to pack guns and then Asher went jail, and then a couple months down the line, me and Morgs think about my nigga doing mad time and his mums. Then I hugged her, I don't know how it came around like this. Then she looked and said, look after the house.
Hi, my name is Swiss, London-born UK artist from the Soul Solid crew. We were a big crew from out of London, had a few top 10 hits within the last decade or a decade ago, and I've evolved myself into a solo artist. Yeah, anything else you need to know about me, do some research.
You're a DJ for Delight FM and also So Solid. And how was that? What was that like then? Because they were quite big at the time.
Oh, what was that like? Yeah, it was a very wonderful experience. You know, so I went all over the country. It was just a good experience because I kind of was coming out of or very much in the street at that time as well. So to have the opportunity to be able to DJ with such great MCs and in a genre of music that was blowing up at the time, enabled me to place myself as a passenger in that vehicle. You know, that took me various different places and gave me opened my mind and showed me new opportunities.
You came with a track called Broken Silence, which some said was the conscious Swiss. Tell us more about that track.
Broken Silence I was actually working on my album back then, which was like year 2000, 2001. And that track was part of like a 5-track EP that I had so far. It wasn't an EP, but let's just call it that. And I wanted to put more tracks onto that CD that I was making, but because that track Broken Silence kind of spoke so much about what we was going through, it had a kind of political undertone to it. And you know that we, had some what do you want to call it? Not so good situations with the media, and involving the politics at that time of the UK. We was getting blamed for a lot of violence that was going on, such forth. So that track spoke a lot about that, and it was a thing of, we just said, you know what, Swiss, we think that this should be our next single. It was called Broken Silence. We never spoke about anything that we never kind of rebutted anything that the media was saying about us, and that was kind of our broken silence or our rebuttal. So it just fitted like a glove. It made sense. And yeah, it went to I think it was number 7 in the chart, in the UK chart. So that was good as well. Something that I wrote went to number 7, sold about 50,000 records in the first couple of weeks. I was very happy with that. That's kind of when I started taking what I was doing a bit more seriously as well.
You had a sellout album called Pain and Music, which the urban music smash hit Cry featuring Sharifa, a very poignant and ageless track. How did that come about?
That came about while I was working on my album Pain and Music, and I just finished I was working with Para. That was the producer that made Cry. He made about 3 other tracks on the Pain and Music album. I was working on some stuff with him, and came to the end of the session, and then he's like, Swiss, hear this. He threw on the beat, and I was like, damn, I want to do something with it. Started writing straight away. Wrote about 6 lines, and I said, you know what, let me take it home. But it was late, took it home. As I was writing, I thought to myself, damn, this could be really something. Like, I don't want to rush this. I want to kind of take my time because I'm revealing some very heartfelt things on here. Overall, it took me about a month and a bit to write it. Once it was finished, listen to it. I weren't happy with the delivery, so I went back in the studio and laid my vocals on it and gave it the passion that I felt it needed. Once that was done, threw it out and just got crazy love. And I'm just grateful that up till today, people still love the track, saying it needs to be re-released. Best track in the UK ever done from a hip hop artist and stuff like that. So I'm just very happy.
Come on, dog, I ain't forgetting Wayne died 97, but I still see him in my brain. All the pain.
Tell us about the highs and lows you've experienced during your time in the music industry, and has anything changed since back then to now?
The highs and lows. The lows were real lows, and the highs were real highs. I mean, we won a Brit, we won various mobiles, had a lot of top 10 records. You know, traveled the world. You know, without going into detail, you can imagine what that might feel like. You know, when you're like in your early or in your late teens. You know, between 16 and 20. So it was just a wonderful experience, life changing. You never think something like that could happen. You always want to be. You know, me and my cousin shared a room in my grandma's house, and there was one stage where we had posters across the whole room, the ceiling, and all three walls of like the top American R&B and hip hop artists. So if you came into that room, you would have known what we wanted to be. Yeah. So to fulfill our dreams was like, it was just, there's not a word to describe it. At the same time, that was coupled with lows, you know, whereas the media, because we were speaking our minds on our music, which is what music is about, the media used us as kind of scapegoats and were blaming us for a lot of the violence that were happening with the young people that were following the music that we were doing.
Your MySpace has had over 25,000 plays, and one track in particular sticks out called Flowers. One line talks about the devil trapping all the minds of gullible individuals, disagreements turn into candlelit vigils. Do you want to elaborate on that a bit more?
Okay.
What you mean by that?
People are influenced by negative things that go on. I don't think the devil's a man. I think my definition of let's say evil is just a force that can incarnate itself in any individual. And once you're becoming engulfed by that force, you act it out, you can act out, you put that force into motion.
Recently, on Black Budget Entertainment for UK Hip Hop, the track Bad Boys, Part 1 and Part 2 were uploaded, featuring the likes of AKS, Akala, Black, The Ripper, and many more. This track has a main focus on the police force. Tell us why.
The whole situation with the police is an ongoing thing, you know, between the police and young black people particularly, is an ongoing struggle and battle that we have in our communities that's been happening since we've been here, basically. And I feel that the reason that the police are able most of the time to take advantage of young people is because us as young people do not know our rights. We don't know what we're standing on, you know, when we're confronted by the police. So that whole track is to highlight, you know, how you can speak to the police when they do approach you, what to say. You know, it's just giving you, it's kind of a bit, saying it in a bit of a cocky way, you know, for the attractiveness of the track to kind of draw people in. But if you do listen to the track, I'm actually quoting things that you can actually use that within your stop and search right, you know, that you can use against the police, you know, to protect yourself or to, you know, to place yourself within the right capacity.
I ain't forgetting Wayne died 97, but I still see him in my brain. All the pain and the memories, niggas in cemeteries. We lost Spider, I pour a little Hennessy, man, and we bring back them if we can. I shed tears from my eyes with the pen in my hand. I'm just trying to stay
definitely an artist that can spread an anti-violent message, but what's it going to take for the music scene to get the conscious levels needed for young people to pay attention? Do you think it's always going to be a struggle for artists that have a positive message to kind of get their voices heard on a wide scale level? Or?
Yeah, I think it's sometimes the way you do it. Kanye has some positive messages in these songs that are very commercial, but he does it in a way that's inviting. Sometimes certain political or conscious rappers can kind of limit themselves by the way they spread their message, the beats they use, the lyrics they use, the way they say it. You know, there's various different aspects of how they portray themselves that probably isn't inviting to a lot of people. So I think it's about using skillful ways to do that, but being real at the same time, not being unreal with your message. You've got to keep it real with these young people because they're not going to listen to you if you're not. Understand? Yeah.
Definitely. And finally, do you have any messages? Can you leave us with a message for the young viewers out there? Anyone?
The best thing you can do is try and find out who you are as an individual in this world, where you come from, you know, in terms of your family background. When a lot of people try and spread a positive message as well to a young person when they're speaking to them, you know, sometimes you can tend to try and pick out people like Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King, and people that are far removed from that person. I would say also try and find individuals in your family that have done great things. Do you understand? There's individuals in your family that you might not know about, because what we tend to do sometimes as black people, we don't speak to our young. Do you understand? We're usually telling them, don't ask me no questions. You know, we're gearing a lot of frustration towards them because of things that we went through in our childhood or whatever. We don't speak about sex, we don't speak about relationships, we don't speak about history, and none of that. And a lot of that is a direct link to slavery and stuff like that. So in some way we're still perpetuating that slave mentality, where we're not bringing our children up in the correct way, where we're open with them and, you know, just able to speak to them on a level. So yeah, start asking questions from your parents, start speaking to your young individuals, and in a nutshell, maybe we wouldn't be in the situation that we are with young people if we'd done more of that. You know, just be open, man, be real. That's the best thing we can be, is just be real with each other. It hurts sometimes, but in the end, it's the right thing to do, because truth will always, you know, bring about the correct solution, the correct outcome, I feel.
And finally, where can we hear more of Swiss's work?
At the moment, you can follow me on Twitter, which is at Swiss World, SWISS World, WORLD. Facebook, you can catch me on Swiss Soul Solid. Become a friend on Facebook or join my fan page through that. Through that Facebook address. And through my fan page, probably like Musically, and on MySpace as well, / Swiss Soul Solid. And also my YouTube, which will be Swiss Soul Solid TV also. So yeah, through those media.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
A lot of positive things said today. So we look forward to hearing more.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Put a shell in my man, damn. Yeah, sometimes I just wanna cry, I don't wanna live. Yeah, sometimes I just wanna die. But what am I can't act like I'm not alive. Got a whole family to look after, so I gotta try and not. Even though granny's in the last years, gotta stay strong. Fuck hanging at the glass stairs, time's moving fast, I don't wanna be the last here. Hanging around my house, sitting in the armchair like